Hey everyone. So let's talk about something that drives so many Oracle Fusion projects crazy. It's this weird paradox where your integrations, they pass all the tests, they go live, everything looks great. And then they just break. Not with some big explosion, but with this slow, painful grind when real business pressure hits. We're going to dig into why this happens all the time, and way more importantly, we're going to lay out the blueprint for how to build them right from the get-go.
And this, right here, this is the absolute heart of the problem. You see, a working integration isn't just one that shuffles data from point A to point B one time. A successful integration is tough, it's resilient, you can actually maintain it, and it can handle the pure chaos of a live business. That difference between technically working and actually successful, well, that's what we're going to unpack today.
All right, so where does it all go so wrong? What we found is that these fragile integrations, they're not failing because the tools are bad. Nope, they're failing because of bad design patterns. So let's break down the 5 most common mistakes that just lead to total disaster.
Okay, mistake number 1. This is the big one, the one we see everywhere. You look at a Fusion API and you think, awesome, I'll just call it. And that thinking completely misses how Fusion actually works under the hood. These aren't simple one-shot commands. They're often transactional, they're state-driven, and a lot of them are asynchronous. That means you send a request and Fusion says, got it, I'll get back to you. It's a conversation, not a command.
And when you treat that conversation like a simple command, yeah, things just fall apart. The integration can't handle a high volume of transactions, it completely misses the critical follow-up events that Fusion sends back, and it has absolutely no idea what to do if something only partially succeeds. And this, inevitably, leads to total data chaos and broken business processes.
So the next huge mistake is turning your integration tool, like Oracle Integration Cloud, into a dumping ground for every business rule you can think of. This happens when developers start cramming complex logic, like translating status codes or doing data validations, right into the integration flow itself. And look, I get it, it seems like a quick shortcut at the time, but you are creating an absolute monster.
And the result? The integration just becomes bloated, super brittle, and impossible for anyone else to figure out. Then, when a business rule has to change, and it always does, you have to perform risky surgery on this giant integration, just praying you don't break something else. Here's the key takeaway. An integration's job is to be a traffic cop, an orchestrator, not to be the one writing all the traffic laws.
So many critical business processes in Fusion are, by their very nature, driven by events. An order gets booked, boom, that's an event. A shipment is confirmed, another event. An invoice gets created, you get the idea. But so many integrations are still built the old-fashioned way, as scheduled batch jobs that just run every hour and ping the system, asking, anything new yet? How about now? Anything new?
This polling approach is just wildly inefficient. It creates data latency because you're always looking at information that's a little bit out of date. It can easily miss updates or worse, process them twice. And all the while, it's putting this constant, useless load on the system. Honestly, it's like hitting refresh on your email every 5 seconds instead of just waiting for the notification to pop up.
Now this next one is so fundamental, it's kind of shocking how often it gets completely overlooked. A huge number of integrations are built with what I call the hope for the best strategy. They have zero plan for what happens when a connection drops, or a system goes down, or the data is just bad. They just fail. And often they fail silently.
And this right here is the mindset shift that is absolutely critical. In any complex distributed system, things will go wrong. It is a 100% guarantee. A design that doesn't meticulously plan for failure by building in things like retries, good logging, and restart capabilities isn't just a poor design, it's a ticking time bomb.
And the final mistake really ties all of this together. It's what we call point-to-point thinking. This is where you build a direct hardwired connection from System A straight to Fusion, and then another custom one from Fusion to System B. Each one is a separate, brittle link. As you can see, you end up creating this tangled web that becomes an absolute nightmare to manage, or, God forbid, to upgrade. Okay, so we've diagnosed the disease, we've seen the 5 common ways that integrations become these fragile liabilities that everyone's afraid to touch. Now, for the good part. Let's pivot and talk about the cure. And this isn't about some shiny new tool. It's about a fundamental shift in how you think. From just building simple connections to actually crafting powerful, reusable business services.
So, to fight back against those 5 common mistakes we just walked through, we're going to introduce 5 really powerful design principles. Think of these as the pillars for building Oracle Fusion integrations that are robust, that can scale, and that are actually easy to maintain.
Principle number 1.
Design your integrations as business services. Seriously, stop thinking about building a technical task like a create sales order integration. Instead, you need to be designing a business capability, like an order management service. This service has a clear, business-focused contract. It hides all the messy technical details inside and can be reused by any system that needs to manage orders.
Next up, we have to put our integration platform back in its proper role. Oracle Integration Cloud, OIC, it's brilliant at orchestration, routing messages, transforming data, handling exceptions. That's what it's for. It is not the place to store your company's core business rules. Remember what we said, it's the traffic cop, not the law library.
So if the rules don't go there, where do they go? Well, they belong in the systems that were designed for them. You configure them in Fusion's own setups and workflows. You can put them in a database or a dedicated rules engine if you really need to, but the number one rule is to keep them out of the integration flow. This keeps your integrations clean, readable, and just dramatically easier to manage.
Now, to solve that problem of constant, annoying polling, we have to embrace the event-driven nature of Fusion. So instead of asking Fusion what's new over and over again, we subscribe to its business events. We basically tell Fusion, hey, just let me know when an order status changes, or ping me when an invoice is created.
And this gets really practical really fast in the real world. For instance, when a worker in the warehouse confirms a pick in Fusion, that event can instantly trigger an integration to sync shipment data. An order status change can immediately send a notification to a customer. This isn't just more efficient, it's real-time business. It slashes latency and gets rid of all that wasted system load. Okay, principle number 4 is simple. Design for failure. Every single integration you build has to be able to answer this one question. If you've got a 10-step process and it fails on step 7, what happens? Can it be safely restarted from that exact point without messing everything up or creating duplicate data? If you can't answer that with confidence, the design just isn't finished.
And this beautiful image illustrates our final principle perfectly. Decouple your systems. Instead of that tangled point-to-point mess we saw earlier, you build a clean, layered architecture. An external system talks to a canonical integration layer in OIC. You can think of that layer as a standardized, common language for your data, which then talks to Fusion. What does this mean? It means if a Fusion API changes down the road, you only have to update one small part of your integration, completely protecting the external system from that change.
All right, theory is great, but let's make this crystal clear with a real-world example. We're going to look at a super common scenario, integrating a custom Apex app with Fusion Order Management, and we're going to compare the wrong way with the right way.
Just look at the difference here. It's night and day. The failing design has the Apex app calling Fusion directly, with all the business logic just stuffed inside the app itself. It relies on people doing manual work and constant polling to stay in sync, and it has pretty much no error handling to speak of. Now, look at the correct design. It is so much cleaner. The Apex app calls one stable OIC service. OIC orchestrates all the logic, it listens for Fusion events for real-time updates, and it handles all the error logging and retries centrally. So much better.
So what's the payoff for getting this right? Oh, it's huge. Your integrations become stable, they become predictable. When you need to add a new feature, it's way faster and a lot less risky. And probably the most important thing is your long-term cost of ownership just plummets because your team isn't constantly firefighting broken processes and trying to untangle complex, brittle code.
So, we'll leave you with this final, really crucial point. You can have the most perfectly configured Fusion system in the entire world, but if the integrations that connect it to the rest of your business are fragile and poorly designed, the whole implementation is at risk. Getting integration architecture right isn't just some technical detail, it is absolutely foundational to your success.